Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me Matt here, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about lucid dreaming, and the main subject is going to be lucid dreaming in the future. Once again, I've got a game going on screen here. It is once again old school RuneScape, and I am currently just completing the easy Ardoon and Lumbridge diaries. My account has been used mainly just for some skilling and staking, and I haven't really done much in the way of questing or anything like that, and so I'm trying to get some of that out of the way now because I actually want to turn it into more of a main account. But yeah, I won't actually be talking about the game much at all, and I don't have to concentrate on the game at all whatsoever because this is actually entirely pre-recorded. Someone suggested that on my last video and I've decided that was a good idea. I've just recorded myself doing this, I've already done this, so I can just talk about lucid dreaming. I actually had a really awesome night with regards to lucid dreams. Last night I had 3 very vivid and intense lucid dreams. That is thanks to the fact that an anxiety medication that I'm prescribed actually basically blocks REM, so results in REM rebound towards the end of the night when it wears off. And so whenever I take that, I end up getting extra lucid dreams. So I had a nice night for lucid dreaming last night. And I thought it would be a great start to the day as I'm having my morning coffee to have a little conversation about lucid dreaming with you guys. In particular, my subject is lucid dreaming in the future. What will lucid dreaming be like 100 years from now? Lucid dreaming has been around for thousands and thousands of years. You know, in early societies, lucid dreaming was a part of spiritual practice. It was a way for people to know their gods, to know their myths and legends and whatever, because it was a source of a lot of that material. They would go into these inner worlds and they would have all these different discoveries about themselves and about consciousness, and I do believe that is where a lot of religious and spiritual ideas originally came from. And so it's been around for a very, very long time. And yet it's almost still new in a way, because yeah, thousands of years ago, lots of people did it, but I don't think it was very well understood. I think everyone assumed that when you were lucid dreaming, you were going to some other world, you know, you were waking up in some other body in another world. There was probably a small minority of people who believed it was all internal to your mind, but that was probably not the widely accepted view. And over time, as you know, science evolved, and as we stopped starting to believe that, you know, there were these other worlds and so on, people stopped believing so much in things like lucid dreaming, because, you know, if you think that, you know, these people have just been talking about this idea of, you know, visiting some other world, and you know, science has come along and suggests that's quite unlikely, then you're probably just going to think they're just making it all up. You're not going to think that, you know, actually this does exist, it's just something that's going on in the person's mind. You're going to think it's all a load of rubbish. So I think for that reason, lucid dreaming and similar things kind of fell out of popularity and, you know, weren't discussed as much as they were, you know, probably thousands of years ago when we were a much more spiritual society and much less interested in the science. Now, over recent times, you know, if you go, say, 100 years back and you told someone about lucid dreaming, a lot of people simply wouldn't believe you that it existed. It sounds very, you know, unrealistic. I mean, just explain lucid dreaming to someone. You know, you're in this world in your mind in like a simulation, something like out of the Matrix, where you can do whatever you want and it feels completely real. You try to tell someone that and they're just going to laugh at you if they haven't heard of it before. They're going to think you're talking utter rubbish, when it does actually exist. It was in the 80s, I think it was in the 80s, when we actually proved in a lab that, hey, you know, someone is able to verify that they're in a lucid dream right now. So, hey, this actually does exist. We've scientifically proven that this is a real thing that is actually happening. That changes things, because now we can kind of investigate it from a scientific perspective. We can actually look at it and say, okay, this is a real thing, you know, anyone can do this, let's find out how to do this, and let's find out how it works, how to perform different techniques, and so on. So it's really only since the 80s that we've really been working a lot of this stuff out. You know, there have been some older techniques, but a lot of it wasn't rooted in actual science about what lucid dreaming really was. Now that we have that real understanding, things are a little bit different. And we're starting to piece together what's going on inside our brains when this is happening. You know, when we need to be waking up perhaps to perform a particular technique, you know, waking up in REM so that when you fall back asleep you rapidly return to REM, making the technique more likely to work. Things like that we might not have understood before. You know, in the past someone might have performed the same technique and they knew that you had to wake up in the middle of the night, but they didn't know that there was a significance to waking up in a particular period of sleep, for example. Now we know that sort of thing. Over time, our understanding of lucid dreaming is evolving. And so I think 100 years from now, lucid dreaming could be very, very different. We could have a much deeper understanding of what exactly triggers it and why some people are more likely to lucid dreaming than others. You know, it might be that we find the kind of secret to how, you know, some people struggle so much when they get started with lucid dreaming, even though they're doing the methods correctly, versus others who get there, you know, their first try, what the differences are. We might find that perhaps for certain people, you know, with certain types of brain chemistry, certain techniques just work better for them for whatever reason, and we might be able to know why that is and know which techniques they should be using. On top of that, you know, as other technologies advance, we might be able to do something like, say, hook two people's brains up to each other and share a dream, enter a shared dream. Or, you know, save someone's lucid dream while they're in it and have someone else replay it, you know, same for a regular dream. There's all sorts of fascinating things that we should eventually be able to do, provided that, you know, lucid dreaming doesn't go back into kind of being in the dark and something that no one knows about again, which I don't think it will, because now that we kind of have this, you know, understanding of it from a scientific perspective that it actually does exist, now we can look at it and now we can actually try to find things out about it. And as we're doing that over time, our knowledge is going to evolve. You know, just look at the last 10 years of lucid dreaming. You know, if you go back, say, 10 years ago and you ask someone how to perform wild, they'll all tell you, you know, stop, drop and roll, you want to get into sleep paralysis, and then you're going to go from sleep paralysis and you're going to enter the dream from there. Nowadays, if you ask someone how to perform wild, a lot more people will tell you to just skip the sleep paralysis step entirely, not do that. And a lot of people will tell you to avoid stop, drop and roll. And, you know, there's a lot of differing even techniques within a technique itself. Now, you know, everything is evolving. You know, people are learning better ways to do things, more efficient ways to do things, and that's just in the last 10 years. So if you think 100 years from now, you know, we might find that these techniques we're using now are completely rubbish compared to some techniques that we'll have then. There might be techniques that you can use for getting lucid 100 years from now that just work, you know, 100% of the time for everyone. There might be something like that and we just haven't discovered it yet. I think perhaps the most fascinating part out of all of this, though, is the fact that we're going to all be part of that journey. We as lucid dreamers get to be a part of that, because any one of us can make a discovery. We can discover a technique that works really well. We can discover something that helps a beginner get past a particular obstacle. And we do that all the time with lucid dreams. You are going to make some discoveries of your own when you're lucid dreaming. I guarantee you're going to discover something that you've never read about anywhere online. You know, maybe someone else has thought of it, you know, on their own accord, but you're going to discover it for yourself. That is one of the cool things about lucid dreaming. You know, in waking life, most things that you learn from other people. You learn some things from experimenting yourself, but most things you learn from other people. In a lucid dream, I would say it's the other way around. You might learn how to get lucid from other people, but even when you've learned all these things about how to do the different techniques for dream control and so on, you're going to find your own ways of doing things that just work best for you. Sometimes it's what works best for other people too, but a lot of the time it's something you discover. You just decide in a lucid dream, hey, I want to try this out. I want to do this particular thing and see if it works. You do it, you try it out, and it actually does work. So, yeah. Just imagine where we could be with lucid dreaming 100 years from now. I want you guys to think about that. Where do you think we'll be? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What would you like to see happen for lucid dreaming 100 years from now? Are there going to be technological advancements that, you know, make it easier to lucid dream, make it easier to have shared dreams and stuff like that? Are we going to have, you know, tons more new techniques? You know, is the lucid dreaming literature and terminology just going to be better? You know, for example, a lot of the time we'll see people using different terms and different names for the same things, because lucid dreaming is so new that there are still different groups that have different opinions over what things should be called. Maybe 100 years from now that won't be the case. We'll all have an agreed upon term for every little thing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, this little talk. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this. If you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon page. And if you want to keep watching, pick one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I will see you soon. Take care. And yeah, I'm just going to quickly get a Slayer level there.